Had a nice inbound storm today, which should have left us here in the San Luis Valley under snow from about daybreak on. We have had snow showers, as we're seeing outside presently, but nothing substantial. What we are seeing time and time again with these storms that fail to deliver is this look of a disturbed cloud top, which is distinctly hairy. You can see the texture, the definition of the storm has been lost. Say the bottom of the clouds has become diffuse. And as I'm going to try to look down here, because there was a nice display of these disturbed clouds. See, this is fairly uniform. This is relatively healthy, even if it is a rather flat top. But then as we pan, we can begin to see less and less definition, more and more hairiness, if you will, or diffusion to the clouds. And I have all these bloody trees in the way. And over here is probably the better example. Right in through here. You can see how the top of the cloud is lost. I mean, it's just lost as compared to this. This shows disturbance. And when you have clouds coming in on your location that look like this, you may get a flurry, you may get a spit, but that's it. This is a clear demonstration, a clear illustration of when these technologies, these geoengineering technologies, have been deployed to disrupt the formation of rain and snow. It happens at all seasons. You will see this hairiness. This is a problem. The storm should come in, we should be under uniform cloud cover. There shouldn't be textures and all kinds of things cut up in the surface of the clouds when viewed from satellite imagery. But this is what we're under today, and this is going to continue the drought that Colorado's experienced for years now. And it's all not because of carbon dioxide, but because of active geoengineering. Hey everybody, Scott Stevens again here. Just showed you out my western window what those clouds look like when they're getting messed with by technology. This is the huge trough sitting off the western states with a prominent ridge off the west coast of California. And you can see the arc of this ridge goes well off the archipelago of western Alaska. Cold low sitting here, but it is this fast flow along the west coast with a sharp curve. And it is this speed shear, this directional shear that indicates those high zones where we're going to get the energetic conditions that are favorable for weather development, be it rain, snow, or whatever, and those are on the leading edges of the red zone. I am here in southern Colorado, so this storm remains inbound. What I want to show you is what the western satellite imagery looks like. Here's the San Luis Valley where I am, and I'm on this eastern edge, and so you can see as I showed you out to the west, skies had breaks in them. But then we can see all of these clouds and all of these fascinating textures as we zoom in. We can see ripples running out this way. We can see ripples a little bit different direction here. We have gaps and openings, and there's all kinds of very, very micro scale features that would not show up on a regular weatherman's radar. Well, not literally, but on his awareness scale. And this is how all weather remains this day. It is full of these textures, and I'm going to see if I can't refresh to get a little larger image. Nope. They tend to cut off the scans on the more frequent scannings if it isn't at the quarter-hour period, so we don't get to see out in the Pacific where there is some intense engineering going on. Across Southern California, we can see some of these stripes of high clouds. Certainly there's chemtrails therein, and there have been a lot of trails today across West Texas as this storm begins to enhance itself. As we go back to the 500 millibar analysis, the jet stream analysis, as we're beginning to watch the storm move in this direction. And it is always on the leading edge of the storms where the engineering is the greatest. In the storm, you'll hear the planes low and slow, but it is rare that you will see a chemtrail. Back out to the west, and this goes back to last night, the day before. Actually, this is last night on the 27th. Today is now the afternoon of the 28th of January. And here's this monster ridge with this plume of Pacific moisture kind of folding back over. Part of it is now spilling down along the west coast, along the fast part of that ridge that we showed you. And there are literally hundreds of trails, chemtrails, that I saw over the course of the day in this plume of moisture. What I want to see is what's happening today. We're going to go back off to California, and every one of these stripes is the cloud that has been generated by the chemtrail seeding of the atmosphere. And so what seems to be happening is they're working on this prominent ridge off the west coast. How this ridge then digs deep into this trough, is going to be important in the weather across the southern states for the remainder of this inbound week. So if they're building this ridge out here, the question is this energy pushing farther to the west, or are they muscling this ridge inland? So this next storm that slips south, does it come along the coast or does it come inland? And those two different paths will mean a world of difference when it comes to later in the week. We'll go to Tuesday morning. This is tomorrow morning. Storm is consolidating across New Mexico, northern Mexico, but we'll see chemtrails all through here tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning. And then the ridge remains in place out in the Pacific. We still have that cold air pouring out of the north, but we have a little disturbance here, another curl here, but the primary storm remains to the south. So the question is, how does this storm impact the southern states as we move into Wednesday and Thursday of next week? Because what they are doing now in the Pacific will result in how the bottom of this trough shapes out. Now these height lines, 528, 522, 500, 5160 decameters, essentially is the halfway point in the atmosphere. This is very cold. This is very, very cold air. So we've got another surge of very chilly air moving into the eastern states, northeast, mid-Atlantic, northern portion of the Piedmont. Those are going to be chilly locations. Out west, our ridge begins to weaken somewhat, and then miraculously, we've got another low coming in, and then what we see is it kind of disconnects within the 6-day period. This may bring some very much needed rains and moistures to Southern California. That would be welcome. But what we are seeing today out in the Pacific is another massive operation, and how it plays into how this trough develops is unknown. We don't know. So we can't say that this is a precipitation inhibiting event or it's a precipitation enhancing event until afterwards. That is the challenge with attributing chemtrails to a particular event. So I'm going to go a little bit closer. This was yesterday afternoon, and we'll see if we can't get in here. You'll be able to see the stripes all in through here. You'll even see a darkening. Some holes there, and there's actually 4 of them in a parallelogram shape. And what I'll do is we'll stop this. Boom. Be able to begin to see some of the holes showing up. They were very pronounced last night. Very pronounced. And especially with another palette of color. And that particular one from the Weather Tap Corporation. And it is something I do subscribe to. This is Weather Tap. And I'm a fan of theirs. I kind of wish their loops, their animations were a touch longer in length. They're only like 8 frames, and that's barely enough. Otherwise, I'm constantly recording and constantly saving data. But nevertheless, in this color palette, you can begin to see the chemtrail actions very, very prominently. So there is an event that is happening in the Pacific, focused on this storm, and it will impact how this storm moves across the southern states. And we'll probably begin to see this storm, the same storm, as it emerges here, going severe with lots and lots of chemtrails out ahead of it. This is Wednesday morning. And then by Thursday, boom, it hits the coast. We'll probably see a low folding back, and it'll be another cold, very snowy event for the eastern states through the remainder of this week. Thanks for watching, guys. Keep looking up.